So how I think some of this is going to change. Certainly the digital retailing is a big focus. A lot of dealers we talk to, and even the supplier community, we've interviewed a number of vendors who provide the digital retailing tools, and their phones are ringing, their emails are our inboxes are filling up because people are saying, okay, finally, we have to actually take this a little more seriously. And it's not necessarily this whole full digital retailing all the way to e-commerce and wet signatures, but basically digitizing the experience. And I think the consumers have been advocating for that for a long time. How is this just a better experience? I want to look at stuff in the privacy of my home. I want to navigate your F&I menu on my own. I don't want to be locked in the box for that period of time and be forced in some sort of menu selling operation. So the dealerships I'm talking to saying, yeah, we're already there. We're moving there in some ways. It's a very complex thing. It sounds like it's easy to do, but obviously if you're taking everything from the online top of the funnel all the way through to the final delivery, there's so many bits and pieces of information, to try to even price a vehicle to get it down to that accurate price that's realistic is not easy science and integration in the background, but I think certainly a move to that. I think things like test drives will probably see new protocols in place where dealerships are going to recognize certain percentage of their customers are going to be cool walking back in the dealership interacting once this subsides. Others are going to be looking for more sanitation protocols. Even I had one conversation with an OEM leader yesterday, and they were talking about even, in the short term in the service bays, if physical distancing continues, the service bays are 4 feet apart. You can't even actually service a vehicle and not be in contact with someone else in your service bay. Even, in some cases, more than one person is working on a car at the same time. So do you go to every other bay, in terms of being able to open, but then still...
Isn't that what the airlines did? They don't sell the middle seat anymore, which I like.
Right. So I'm sure that would have an implication for dealers on their capacity. So, to be able to get throughput if they have to do things like that. So those are just some of the things I see. But I think profoundly, I think they're also going to really look at their operations and look at their cash flow positions. And I think they're going to, no one would have expected this, but I think a lot of dealers are pretty highly leveraged and sort of, those that have had, money put aside for rainy day, probably able to weather the storm a little better. But I think some will look at their operations and start to tighten up